Morning. Long old journey back. Not much sleep, I imagine, but a bit of time to reflect. And as you sit here now, are you any clearer in your mind as to why you didn't get to the levels you needed to in that semi-final last night?
Oh, not a lot of sort of clarity when you're talking, a few hours later. There's still kind of the emotions of it. As I said last night, it was a disappointing night for us, disappointing night for the club, disappointing night in terms of the opportunity we had. I said after the game we didn't really perform to the levels we needed to, and Liverpool were too good for us.
We saw Richarlison go off with, you said, a calf injury. I guess you don't have much more than you had 12 hours ago, but is there anybody else likely to be back for that game on Sunday?
No.
And in terms of wanting a reaction, and have you even had a chance to speak to the players properly about why they weren't able to get to those
Most
levels?
of them are still sleeping. Yeah, we got back at 2 a.m. So I think what's more important for them is they rest up. I'll give them the feedback. Gave them feedback after the game. I don't need to give them too much feedback. They're all disappointed with the way things went last night. But the reality of it is, in 48 hours or so, we've got a big game coming up. So recovery and get going again.
And in terms of that, getting the reaction, as you say, you probably don't need to speak to the players because if there's anything about them, they'll realise that they weren't where they needed to be.
There's plenty about them. I mean, look, I get the pylon at the moment. It's really easy, for people to stick the boots in and question the players and all that kind of stuff, but I don't. That's not something I question. We were disappointed last night. Didn't go the way we wanted to. We didn't really perform at the levels we wanted to. But that doesn't define this group of players by any stretch in my eyes. And we'll go out there on Sunday and put on more of a performance that reflects where we're at.
I guess what does define them is that reaction, and you're pretty confident you'll get it from them?
Well, like I said, I have a great deal of belief in this group of players and what they're going through and how they're dealing with it. They were disappointed last night. We're all disappointed. We'll learn from it, and we'll move on.
Ian, please.
Hi, Ange, how are you?
Yeah.
You mentioned there you get the pile-on, the criticism. Do you have to take it all on your shoulders?
No, it's not about taking it on my shoulders. As I said, as I said last night, it doesn't really kind of direct me in what I do and what I think. I said we're an easy mark at the moment. I get that. Obviously, making a semi-final is an absolute disaster because we didn't play well last night. I assume not making the semi-final would have put us in a better place. But that's the way people are kind of seeing us at the moment, and we're an easy mark, like I said. So when we have a disappointing night like we did last night, it gives opportunity for everyone to sort of go as hard as they can. That's fine. There's only one way to change that. That's with us. Just getting back out there and playing football. I know we can, and getting a result on Sunday.
In the past, when that's happened to teams and they've been an easy target or there's been criticism from left, right and centre at them, they've used that as the fuel to go and prove people wrong, for want of a better expression. Is that what you'll do ahead of Sunday?
No, because I don't know which people I need to prove wrong. I mean, like I said last night, it's irrelevant to me what other people's opinions are. People are on the TV and the radio and newspaper to give opinions. I respect that. They're allowed to do that, but that doesn't compel me. I don't have no obligation to listen to any of it, or, like, seriously, to get fueled by comments made by people I've never even met. I don't know how you live your life, but I certainly don't live my life that way. That's with all respect for the fact that they are there to give an opinion. That's fine, but it's not like I want to be successful here because I can go to these people and say to them, "Oh, look, you were wrong." I don't even know them. Why would I care where they think we're at? They're a million miles away from us, but they're allowed to have their opinion. I said we're an easy mark at the moment, and look, after last night, there are times you just got to take it, keep your counsel, and atone for it in the way that only really matters, and that is with playing the football I know we can.
Finally, with Sunday in mind, good thing that it's coming so quickly? Good thing or bad thing? Would you rather have had a week to get it out of the player system on the training ground, or good thing because you can throw them straight onto the pitch and say, right, come on?
We're 48 hours away from a game. I would much rather have had 8 days to prepare like the other teams.
Thank you.
Hi there, Ange. I think you said it might have been 7 to 10 days ago that you were hoping to have this bunch of players back in 7 to 10 days. Is there a disappointment that none of them are available for such a big game?
No, I didn't think anyone. I mean, we thought maybe Mickey was maybe a chance for Thursday. I didn't think this week. It was the start of next week where we're still hopeful we'll get at least 2, maybe 3 back for the Man Utd game. We've got 2 full weeks of training, which I think over these 2 weeks we'll get the majority of the players back with a bit of luck, provided we don't lose anyone else like we lost Richie last night. So, I knew this week was going to be a challenging week in terms of personnel because we just weren't going to get anyone back. So yes, there was no sort of disappointment that anyone missed out.
Just on Richarlison, I think we've spoken before about the fragmented nature of his time at Tottenham. Is it getting to the point now where it's maybe going to be kind of worrying for the long-term future as well, because he just cannot get any kind of head of steam going?
Yeah, look, it's disappointing for him, and it was obviously, again, he was emotional last night because he'd worked really hard to get himself back, but again, it's another setback. We're going to have to deal with. He's going to have to deal with, and hopefully get him back as soon as possible.
One positive from the game there, Kevin Danso. Did he at least prove exactly why you kind of wanted to bring him in, played in your style?
Yeah, I thought Kevin was really good. I thought Mattis was good, considering we're sort of throwing him in a sort of difficult night. I'm sure they'll help us, and I'm sure they'll feel better after last night at getting that first game sort of under their belt and moving on from there.
Hi, Ange. Do you feel like there's any extra pressure on Sunday's game because of the result last night?
I think it's the same pressure. It's a knockout game, so you've got to get a result to progress. And had it gone any better last night, it wouldn't have made any difference to Sunday. It's still a game you have to win to progress, so pressure's the same.
And given that Sunday's the last of a long run of Thursday, Sunday every week, basically for months, what does next week look like in terms of what's going to happen here?
Well, look, we'll assess that after Sunday, but like I said, we know we've got 2 clear weeks. There's a number of our players who are scheduled to come back during that time, so we'll use it wisely to rest the guys who need rest, and certainly there's a fair few of them that need some rest, and also hopefully get some work into the guys so that who have been out for quite a while to be ready for the challenge ahead, because I think these 2 weeks we've got now will be really valuable for for the finish of our season.
George, please.
Hi, Ange. I appreciate you're going to defend the squad and you obviously got belief in the players, but last night didn't feel the first time some of the senior players in a big game have made mistakes or maybe not stepped up. Are you not sort of close to a point now with some of them where it's either time to move them on or you give opportunities to others if you have the options?
Well, I don't know. I mean, opportunity to others. We're giving opportunity to everyone. No, I don't think you can be too harsh on it. I don't put any responsibility on the senior players last night. As a collective, we just didn't sort of tackle the challenge we had last night in the manner we needed to, and that's not the senior players. I think the senior players are carrying us through this in many respects because we have. I mean, there was, I don't know how many players were kind of playing their first game at Anfield last night. So all these kind of things you try and prepare the group for, but I think it's fair to say we didn't handle the situation well, but that's not on the senior players. I've got no issue with the senior players, and we don't have that many out there, to be honest. So, certainly they're trying as hard as they can, and I guess from my perspective, my role is to try and support and provide guidance so we can, make amends for a poor performance last night.
And I know you've always been consistent that you're never going to ask for time, and it's not going to be a 5-year project. You're 18 months into this kind of rebuild. and it feels like the squad is still quite far away from Liverpool. How kind of many transfer windows, how many months, how sort of long is it going to take you to bridge that gap?
Look, I know that this is all kind of reactive to last night, and I get it. And there was a big gap between us and Liverpool, but Vicario, Romero, Destiny, Van der Ven, Solanke, Wilson Odobert. I mean, I could go on and on. That I don't know, if you take 7 or 8, we had 10 missing last night, senior players, but you take 7 or 8 key players from any team and you're playing the best team in the league who are at their best. I don't think you make judgments in these moments. And I get that people it kind of dulls the senses after a while when you say the same thing after week, and it sounds like, well, it is what it is. But that's the reality of our situation, A lot of the players we that I mentioned, Maddison, I mean, Brendan Johnson, I'm not making judgments on last night apart from the fact that we didn't perform, in the manner we wanted to. Even if we did, we may not have won anyway. The disappointing thing is we just didn't play the way we wanted to. So we need to address that.
Yeah, that was going to be my final point. How important is it at Villa that you actually show more of kind of the sort of football that you have by and large played for the majority of this time, even with the injuries?
Yeah, look, I think that's probably our main sort of objective now, is to get back to sort of playing a little bit more like ourselves. Won't be easy. Villa are a good side, obviously, playing them at home. And again, it's going to be a challenge with literally the same group of players backing up. But, there's an opportunity for us there. And, we want to make sure that we tackle that opportunity in the right way.
Okay, we'll end the broadcast section there.